All right, let's kick this off. Last masterclass of the day. We have two gentlemen here from Uphold, and they have a great masterclass prepared for you, and I know there will be an announcement as well, so something very exciting. So I am very excited to present Dr. Martin Heesbøck, as well as Christopher Siedentopf from Uphold. Martin, the floor is yours. Please take it away.
Thank you. It's bad timing with the good weather, right? Everyone's already out with the apéro. Thank you very much for those of you still here listening. My name is Martin Heesbøck. I'm the head of research for Uphold. We are a multi-asset trading platform operating in hundreds of countries. And today, June 1st, is actually the launch of our institutional product. You find the QR code there. It's called Uphold Institutional, headquartered in New York. We deal with hedge funds, family offices, institutional clients, and we have an institutional trading platform that is unlike any other. We have the deepest liquidity available, connected to many centralized exchanges, decentralized trading venues. And we don't just offer Bitcoin trading and speculation on the price of things going up and down. If you are in crypto, you've probably at one point or another read a book about the history of blockchain. You might be under the impression that it all started with Satoshi Nakamoto inventing Bitcoin. Then came Ethereum, the other cryptocurrency. And then some people from the Ethereum Foundation left because they were dissatisfied with the state of what Ethereum was building and created a lot of other blockchains. And that might be your impression. Then came the Ethereum token, the ERC20 token. And all of that is about money, and Bitcoin is the ultimate freedom of personal finance. It is inflation. All that narrative that you have been fed by the media and that you've read on every single blog, copied in every single research outfit for the last 15 years. That is not how blockchain and crypto started. That is the wrong history. So instead of giving you a masterclass, I'm a failed mathematician, a lapsed computer scientist. I'm not good with numbers. I'm a bad manager. I'm not good with people. I'm a horrible programmer. My students tell me that the code I write is absolutely atrocious. So I shouldn't even be giving a masterclass. Instead, I'm going to tell you a story. That story starts in 1982. I was 12 years old, and I saw my first computer. In 1982, a man called David Chaum wrote a dissertation, which in academic circles is still called the EMT paper. The EMT paper is the most important paper in crypto and blockchain. It's not the fucking white paper of Bitcoin. It is David Chaum's EMT paper. And I want you to pay attention to the title of that paper. It's about the establishment, the maintenance, and trust in a network of mutually suspicious agents. The internet was born out of DARPA. If you remember any spy movie, any American thriller, the military is always the bad people, the suspicious people. The internet was born out of an American military project. And from the very beginning, these people were aware that if you have what we now call a decentralized network, you will have bad guys in that network. David Chaum wrote his dissertation in 1982. In 1987, he threw the switch on the first ever blockchain in California. He also invented a form of e-money that never got anywhere. But from then on, from 1987 on, for the next 20 years, the whole problem of blockchain was how do we work? How do we have a decentralized system where there are potentially malevolent or often simply stupid actors. Now, that was a computational problem, that was a philosophical problem. The whole idea of decentralization doesn't fit with the society we live in. Running a decentralized system is like living in a society without police or firefighters. If you're a crypto-anarchist, like I was born out of the novels of Timothy C. May and Neil Stephenson, CryptoPunk, and all that. And when I was young, I believed in all that, that we could have a decentralized society. But then I grew up. Most people in crypto today haven't grown up yet. Crypto is being carried on the shoulders of young males who show allegiance to football clubs and have an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex. Basically, fucking idiots. That's what the crypto space still is. Now, David Chaum threw the switch in 1987, and the first blockchain started running. And people in computer science realized we have a real problem. We do not know in the internet if there is a computer joining the internet who wants to harm the network. So the initial discussion for those 20 years about how to solve their problem of computers talking to each other independently, without supervision, without a central entity, that was the original problem of blockchain. It was in 1990 that Barbara Liskov created the first business-to-default tolerance concept, the practical BFT. In 1990, long before Bitcoin, long before any of these crypto circles started, the Israeli computer scientist Radion Noor created the first proof-of-work concept in 1989. Long before most of the people today in crypto were even born. It was Michel Minnelli who used smart contracts for FX transactions in 1980. And much of this discussion about blockchain and decentralized network goes back to Alan Turing. Alan Turing said that a computer, in order to actually work, it has to be, by definition, hackable. There is mathematical proof, there is lots of formula, but instead, I want to show you what this problem led to when suddenly in 2009, a university study group that goes by the name of Central Fountain of Wisdom in Japanese, Satoshi Nakamoto, created what we now call Bitcoin. Humans need a hero. Movies have heroes. We believe in the image of a hero inventor who changes the world. He didn't. All he did was take the proof-of-work idea that has been there since 1990 and his consensus model, put that together, and told people this is a form of money. And suddenly the money people paid attention. Until 2009, this was a problem of computer networks. It had nothing to do with money. But then the money people paid attention. I started mining Bitcoin. I mined 20 Bitcoin a day on my old gaming computer. It went up from $5 to 100. I thought I made a killing and sold it and lost interest in the whole thing. That was the beginning of Bitcoin. And then people realized, technically, it's actually crap. It takes 10 minutes to make a block. Computer scientists realized very early on, this might be a concept in finance, but for computer, one block every 10 minutes is rubbish. So Ethereum was created. The Ethereum people, at the very beginning, immediately split into different camps. There were many, many different protocols. If you think that the merge that happened last year, the move from proof of stake to from proof of work to proof of stake, that was discussed in the first year that Ethereum went live. The idea was, if I want to add a validator to a system, I am suspicious of said validator. There's the word again, from 1982. If I am suspicious of the validator, how do I make sure he's not a bad guy? So the idea was then to charge an admission fee to the club of Ethereum validators. That concept of the admission fee became the concept of proof of stake. There were hundreds of other ideas. There was the Casper protocol, which later became... There are literally every single blockchain that you know came out of the Ethereum idea of being the next better cryptocurrency. And then the money people paid attention. They realized we cannot control Bitcoin, ever. We want something like that that will make us money, but we want to control it. And this is how Ethereum found its investors, who then launched Ethereum in an extremely dodgy ICO that still plagues us today. There are lawsuits going on to this very day, hundreds of them. And then people saw, okay, there's money to be made here. You tell people what you're going to do with the blockchain, you do an ICO, and suddenly, after 2010, this whole crypto circus became all about money. And because of Bitcoin, nobody remembered that it was essentially a computational problem of a network. And everybody focused on the consensus. Now, there's two layers in this. There's a consensus layer and there's a network layer. Without being too technical, I got here on the train from Austria. Lovely train ride through the Alps. We have a wonderful, super fast, far better than all the Swiss trains. It's called the Railjet. You take the train from Vienna, you go at 195, and you reach 220 kilometers an hour. This is a train, a blockchain, traveling on a network, the ground. You make it all the way to Salzburg, then you reach Germany. They don't let us drive faster than Germany, faster than 100 kilometers in Germany. And then you go into Tyrol, into the Alps. And then you go through the Arlberg Tunnel. And all that time, you're traveling at 70 kilometers an hour. So it doesn't matter how fast your blockchain is, how fast your train is. You're still only running at 70 kilometers an hour because there's fucking mountains everywhere and tunnels. The network layer is a problem that has been conveniently ignored throughout the history of blockchain, while everybody was joining the pissing contest over which blockchain was faster than others. The speed of a blockchain is also a completely wrong concept. Everybody talks about TPS, transactions per second. We have chains that do 100,000, even up to 1 million TPS. TPS isn't speed. Transactions per second is throughput. Throughput, we have enough throughput. We don't need 1 million transactions per second. Not even Visa or MasterCard need that many transactions. What we would need is speed. And speed is blocks per second. We're still stuck in a mindset where we are fighting like young men joining football clubs, hockey clubs, whatever sport you choose. We are fighting each other. Hedera comes out every other day saying, we just passed 9 billion transactions. Who the fuck cares how many transactions you have on Hedera? That is simply a completely meaningless number. Nobody paid attention to the inherent problem that if you have a slow blockchain, a clumsy blockchain like Bitcoin, you will never solve what has become known as the blockchain trilemma. The blockchain trilemma doesn't exist. It's an Ethereum trilemma. It is the mindset of Ethereum developers that creates the blockchain trilemma. If you take into account the actual block creation speed, that trilemma doesn't matter. I'll elaborate on this a bit. You have if you want to change a transaction in the blockchain that happened 20 blocks ago, a blockchain being immutable, what is your only option? You need to fork. If you want to delete a transaction on the blockchain, you create a fork. Forking is a hugely problematic and cumbersome process. But we have all become accustomed to it. There is projects out there that don't need forks. There are many, many projects that have completely gone away from the Ethereum model, while right now, with institutional adoptions, with the general public paying attention, we are still talking about a technology like Ethereum that is essentially outdated. We are building the world's financial system on something akin to the fax machine in the age of email. The fax machine, like Ethereum, was a revolutionary invention. It changed global trade completely. You could suddenly order something from China, send your designs over on a fax machine. Who here still has a fax machine? The same is true for Ethereum. We are building a completely new financial system on a technology that's like trying to get to Mars in a Volkswagen Beetle. There are hundreds of projects out there that are far better than what Ethereum is now. That doesn't mean Ethereum will lose. Most likely than not, it is not the best technology that wins the race. It is the one that is most accessible. And we now have millions of Ethereum developers, millions of people who know how to program in Solidity. And Ethereum is the most widely used. So maybe if we add enough layers, a layer 2, a layer 3, some more stuff onto it, maybe we get to Mars in the Volkswagen Beetle one day. What Ethereum has actually become is not a financial, it's certainly not a cryptocurrency. The fact that we still have websites like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko that list crypto assets by market cap is absolutely hilarious. Open the Wall Street Journal and look at the prices of stocks on the New York Stock Exchange. They're not listed by market cap. They're either listed alphabetically or by industry. That makes sense. Whereas we, on CoinMarketCap, we have stable coins, we have shit coins, we have meme coins, we have decentralized things, everything thrown together and listed by market cap. That does not make sense in any universe. This has to change too. Ethereum is essentially an operating system. And if you are as ancient as I am, then you remember the 1990s when everybody got a personal computer and everyone chose a different operating system. There must have been like 200 operating systems at one point. And then came Unix, and Unix turned into Linux, and Debian, and Apache, and God knows how many there were. And we were all fighting about which operating system is the best. Nobody cares. It's what you do with it that counts. Nobody cares which blockchain you're running on if you have nothing to run on it. So what really counts in this is making blockchains useful. We are still in a stage where everyone's fighting about which blockchain is better than the other. None of that matters. It's what the blockchain is actually made for, how it is developed, what its focus is on. And this is why we at Uphold have a very different approach to research and to the tokens we offer. We do not compare the speed, the TVL, the amount of stuff staked, all of that stuff you can get from normal data providers. I don't give a damn. I want to look the person who created the blockchain in the eye and tell me, what does it actually do? This is why we work with XDC, which have a very strong focus on trade finance. This is why we work with Casper, one of the most business-focused blockchains out there. We are now in 2023 finally getting to the point where people realize, I'm using a phone, I don't care what the operating system is. Your phone works, it's using Android, my phone works, it's an iPhone. Do we really care about the inner workings of the operating? We don't. We care about the app, about the games we can download. There are still many, many problems to solve. The focus of our research at Uphold is on who will solve these problems. I just want to give you a few examples of what is still very, very wrong in blockchain and what doesn't make sense I mentioned that we have lists of projects by market cap. That's bollocks. We need to separate them by sectors. We need to create baskets around them. We need to become more user-focused. People need to go to a website or pick up the newspaper and realize these are the 5 blockchains for gaming. These are the 10 blockchains for financial applications. Those are good in supply chain, and so on. The problem is we have no idea what we are talking about. Programmable money is mentioned in the MiCA definition. I found 17 different definitions of programmable. One of them from the SEC, a different one from the CFTC. There's a different one by the Singapore Monetary Authority. The European Union has a different definition of programmable. It's not that easy. Programmable can mean many things. We have no idea what decentralization means. The MiCA regulation that just came out mentions that decentralized blockchains are not affected. What is decentralization? We don't know. There is a technical form of decentralization. There's also financial decentralization. There is a cybersecurity aspect. You can be very decentralized, and still every decentralized player is owned by the same person. We have heard that in the presentation from Citrix earlier. There is legal decentralization. Nobody knows what decentralization means, or rather, everyone has a different definition of decentralized. I mentioned TPS. Transactions per second are completely irrelevant to the future of blockchain. Smart contracts are not smart, and they are not contracts. All we have is dumb tokens. Ralph Kubli is here, who has a very clear vision about what tokens should actually look like. We can program code into tokens, so why don't we? It was Fabian Vogelsteller, my long-term partner in crime, who created the ERC20 script on Ethereum. The ERC20 script is so easy to use in a programming language that everybody can use, that after 2017, there was an absolute explosion of tokens created on Ethereum. And all you had to do is have connectivity to Ethereum, and you could offer a universe of ERC20 tokens. 99% of them completely worthless shit. Meme tokens, useless stuff. Anybody who watched a YouTube video about Solidity programming could suddenly create a digital asset. And it exploded, and the trading platform came. I call that phase, up until 2021, the crypto circus. We are still in the circus. Just look at the meme coin craze of the last 2 or 3 weeks. We have not left the circus at all. We are running most of them on the EVM. Any programmer here can tell you that the EVM is crap. But it's ubiquitous. Everybody uses it. Do you want to build on a battle-tested EVM that has severe limitations, is computationally inefficient, is resource inefficient, or do we want to go to my friends from Alephium are here? Alephium is one of the best projects you have. There are several different approaches to have virtualization in blockchain that are 1,000,000 times better than the EVM, yet everyone focuses on the EVM because it's everywhere and everybody knows how to work with it. I'm not picking winners. I'm just telling you that there's more out there than the general crypto media will tell you. Privacy, CK-proof, CK snarks, they're rubbish. What is privacy? Let's say you go shopping to, what is the Swiss equivalent? Migros. Du gehst zum Migros einkaufen. Ja? You go to a supermarket and you want to have absolute privacy. You don't want anyone to know what you are buying. You have a shopping cart. You have your phone to pay. You have a credit card. How do you prevent anybody from knowing what you're buying? Your only option is to come with a black sack. You have to have a opaque, thick hemp sack like they use on the docks on our ships. You put that sack in your shopping trolley. You then do your shopping and very quickly take an item from the shelf and shove it in the sack. You go through the supermarket with your sack in your shopping trolley, and nobody sees what you're buying unless they catch you in the act of grabbing it. Now, for most of us, having other people see our shopping is no problem. It's often a conversation starter. But you have a right to privacy. What if you're a 17-year-old girl trying to buy a pregnancy test? What if your wife doesn't want you to drink and you want to have a bottle of vodka in there? How do you prevent anyone in the store to know what's in the sack? What are you buying? You need the sack. But then there's another problem. That is called transactional privacy. But then you reach the cashier. There's your problem. How do you keep the cashier from knowing what's in there? We have CK Snarks for that. We can actually have her scan an RFID code, and we don't have to take out the items from the sack. If you've ever been to an Amazon store, there's absolutely no privacy there. There's no way to buy a bottle of booze that you don't want anybody to see at an Amazon store. You can hide your shopping from the cashier, but the store still knows. How do we keep transactions private in the blockchain without using illegal stuff like Zcash and Monero and all that? We have not solved that problem. There are different approaches. There is the approach of a trusted execution environment, where you need a chip, a hardware chip. There's the idea of multi-party computation. Multi-party computation is actually privacy by committee. It's a very good approach. Aleph Zero uses it. Credo uses it. MPC is probably the way forward, just like multisig is with unhosted wallets. But we have not solved the problem of privacy in a legally compliant manner. Yet we are out there, and you pick up any crypto publication, and they will tell you CK proof is the future. DAOs don't work. They are not decentralized, they are not autonomous, and they are certainly not organizations. There's a huge voting problem. DAOs are like a Swiss direct democracy. The farmer with the most cows wins. A DAO is only a step towards a final real solution to voting on blockchain that is so fair that the voting actually makes more sense than a traditional voting. We are not there yet. There are now different projects like cooperatives, and there are different versions of organizations that use blockchain technology. DAOs are not the final word. Finally, the most ridiculous invention, NFTs. NFTs that we have, they're very necessary. NFTs have many, many use cases. But all we have now is an NFT that inherits its technical property from the chain on which it lives. That is like saying, that is good if you have CryptoPunks and stupid drawings and all that stuff that is now going on in NFTs. Or in a game, it doesn't matter. If you're playing a game that is run on Solana and you buy Solana, that's all right. But if we want to really make NFTs useful, an NFT is a representation of ownership of an actual asset. Let's say you're buying a house, and you get an NFT, and the NFT proves your ownership of the house. If that NFT lives on Ethereum, and Ethereum stops working, your NFT is worthless. That is like saying, I only own the house as long as the bank that gave me the loan exists. Once the bank stops operating, the house is no longer mine. If we want to really have ownership of digital assets, we cannot have NFTs that live on a specific chain. We need to have completely chain-agnostic NFTs. There are now several standards in development that will give you a digital asset that can live on any blockchain independently. The current setup for NFTs is useless if we want to use it for real-world assets. It's very nice if you're an artist and you want to sell a bored ape or a languishing lemur or whatever the latest, or a pudgy penguin or whatever they do these days. Most NFT projects were actually started by the blockchains themselves to increase transaction volumes. The blockchain space, as it is now, is a little bit like the American infrastructure. It's rubbish. It's full of potholes. The air traffic control in America is stuck in the 70s. The bridges are apparently falling apart. But it is still the country with the biggest and leading firms in artificial intelligence, in biotech, in almost every single industry. America is the leader, and it still has a rubbish infrastructure in most places. That's what blockchain is right now. Most of the infrastructure is still crap, but there are projects out there with real use cases, projects who have a future. And to identify and to offer clients access to these projects, we spent the last 6 months creating a platform called Uphold Ascent, with the deepest liquidity you could find anywhere, with the tokens that don't look backwards, that have a history of performance, but with tokens that will be useful. I don't care about the price. I care about the usefulness that will have an impact in 5 years, in 7 years, and 10 years. And Christopher is going to give you an overview of what that platform, which launched today, actually looks like. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. My name is Christopher Siedentopf, and I represent the money people that Martin so lovingly described. I run institutional sales at Uphold, and what we try to do is we try to cater to institutions focusing on education and execution. I think you got a very good taste of what we're trying to do in the educational space. We're trying to help you navigate the jungle, try to find the projects out there that have longevity and provide value. We also want to provide an execution platform. And for that, what we've done is we've taken the existing retail infrastructure from Uphold and upgraded it to an institutional offering. We've partnered with Hidden Road. If some of you are familiar with that, it's a prime broker that allows us to use leverage, besides many other benefits. We've also partnered with another third-party provider to have a trading front end. And I think what's very unique, and Martin alluded to that, is the way we source liquidity. We're a platform, we're not an exchange. We're connected to 15 centralized exchanges, and we're connected to around another 14 venues in the decentralized space. Decentralized exchanges such as Aave, Unicurve, DeFi protocols, layer 2s and rollups, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, or Arbitrum. And this allows us to provide better spreads in the altcoin space. And I know this is all coming a bit of a commercial spin, but I think if you care about liquidity and you care about spreads, which institutions do, tapping into these 29 different venues translates into better pricing across the altcoins. You don't really see a difference in trading Bitcoin or ETH, but I regard everything as an altcoin that starts on position 2, down the market cap table that Martin agrees with. So really, in summary, we launched today, so it's a milestone for us. We cater to institutions, and we want to provide best execution. Now, these are two terms that are so widely used. Institutions to us is really anyone that trades either their own assets or on behalf of other people's assets, and really cares about finding the right tokens and executing them at the best price possible, because ultimately that's what they have to do for their end clients. So this is the interface that you'll see. Really looks like a Bloomberg trading screen that many of the old school institutions use. And yeah, look, if you're an ETP provider, if you're a hedge fund, if you're a family office, if you're a professional individual trader, this is what you'll have. Come and see us. And with that, I hand over to questions. Any questions you have on the platform, but any questions you may have for Martin, please join the conversation. In the meantime, check out the QR code. It will take you to our website that launched today. Thank you very much.
Yes, let's give it up for Martin and Christopher. I will have to say, I think, Martin, you were the most engaging speaker of today. I truly enjoyed your presentation. Well, let's say it was less of a presentation and more of a speech, which is good because we were all focusing on you rather than looking at the screen. And you were really, really good. This is a little bit of our tradition of giving the Toblerone as the token of appreciation. But let's see, are there any questions in the room? Or are we all speechless after Martin? Yes, Emmy does have a question.
Thanks so much, Martin and Chris. I'm curious, what's your tech stack? Is it internally built or how?
All internally built over the course of the last 8 years. So this has been trialed and tested with Retail Flow. The connectivity, which, as you can imagine, being connected to all these decentralized trading venues was quite a heavy engineering lift. And that's been trialed and tested with Retail for, our CEO is here, but for about eight years. So.
What products are you offer as of today? Options as well?
This is going to be a spot RFQ desk to start with. So you face us principally in the transaction. RFQ for this month. Our roadmap looking forward for the next 6 months is going to be streaming in those 280 assets. And derivatives will come in 2024.
When it comes to DeFi, I see on your website that DeFi and... then I will pass it on to you. You address DeFi as well. What is what you do today or you're planning to do when it comes to decentralized?
So we are connected already to layer 2 networks, DeFi chains, decentralized exchanges. Maybe important for institutions to note is that we have a system in place to guarantee that the addresses you interact with have been vetted. So we work with Chainalysis and Ecliptic to put risk metrics on these different pools that we interact with, and we can switch them on and off depending on the level of risk that we see in there.
Thanks so much. I pass it on to Roshi.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Superb presentation. Really enjoyed it. Just a couple of quick questions. Where are you based and how are you regulated? And then lastly, what's behind the name Uphold?
I'll take based and regulation. So our OTC desk, you'll be facing either Uphold Europe or Uphold HQ. We have an FCA, KYC and AML registration. We have a Lithuanian VASP. We've got 45 money transmitter licenses in the US. We have an FCA license through the purchase of a broker-dealer whose CEO sits right there. Where the name Uphold come from, I'd like to maybe ask Simon.
Uphold was started in the wake of the financial crisis back in 2014. So the name is about upholding trust and transparency.
It's a wonderful team performance.
Oh, yes. Okay, I see a hand up there. Let me just pass the microphone to you because online.
Thanks for the no bullshit presentation. So basically you still offer to trade on Uphold basically all of the digital assets or a broad range of it. What's the process of due diligence? How you basically then distinguish between the no use case from the use case projects?
Oh, you need the microphone.
You can answer that too. It's very simple. It's really very simple. I have to have somebody I can talk to. I need to know the people behind a project. I need to know their history. I do not normally recommend projects with undoxed people who don't turn on their camera, or people with weird Nigerian accents. So there is basic common sense. I think it's far more important than the due diligence ticking boxes in a form. we absolutely need a global regulatory framework, and that might be happening. I've heard that there is a consultation between Washington and Brussels coming in July. So maybe down the road, 2 or 3 years, we will have some kind of basic global framework. Or never, I don't know. But it is, right now, it's a problem of having to deal with every single jurisdiction. In Canada, you can have, I think, stable coins, and in Europe now we have this problem with asset-backed assets and the definition, the weird definition of e-money. So it's early. We are really early in this space because nobody has any clue what the rules are going to look like.
Last question.
Go ahead.
But there is still a big range from does the person turn on the camera to is the project really...
Obviously. We got lawyers, we got financial experts, we got a team of people who look at tokenomics very, very closely. We continuously reevaluate projects every 6 months at least. If something changes, if there's an announcement, we've had projects completely change, technology changes in management. So every time this happens, we have to re-examine, is this still a good project? Have they lost the original vision? Has it completely changed? CEOs come and go, projects live and die. We continuously evaluate all the projects on the platform. Please.
I think she wants me to speak. Yes, probably it's better if I pass the microphone, so let's do the train.
Hello. Hi, I'm Martin. My name is Elizabeth. I actually invested investment platform. It's also a platform, not exchange. So like the basic idea on this layer is same with Uphold. Am I understanding it right?
I don't know what you mean.
So it's an investment platform, like you have centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. Yeah. So it's basically an investment platform, but it does not trade.
We're not an exchange.
You can trade.
You can trade. Okay. On behalf of the client. So it's a broker, like a broker service. In a sense. Okay, maybe talk to you later about it, because I found something interesting between your project and theirs. They're based in USA, so I feel like there's an urge to talk to you guys later privately about this. But there's a public question, which I think is beneficial for all of us to know, like to what extent and to what percentage does every single one person in crypto knows the paper of EMS? How many people have read? I'm a visiting scholar in mathematics of UC Berkeley. Yeah, nobody.
Come on, people were not born then. The people who direct the future of crypto are all in their 30s. They have no clue what happened before Bitcoin. They all think Satoshi Nakamoto was a sushi gobbling Japanese guy who invented.
Because I'm new to crypto, I read some papers this morning before I came. I read blockchain and crypto. It's all mathematics, but like to what extent do people know the foundational mathematics behind it for those people that are in the industry? Okay. Yeah, but EMS is an important white paper, right? Since it's a white paper, even we invest anything.
It's not a white paper, it was his dissertation.
Dissertation. Yeah, I saw the dissertation by a UC Berkeley guy.
By the way, we're still working with David Chong, who now consults for XX Network, which is the first workable quantum-proof blockchain.
I'm sorry.
David Chong is from Cardano, works with Cardano.
What is the project?
It's called XX Network.
XS Network.
It's the really first workable quantum-proof.
Wow.
There is a problem with quantum computing that will come very soon. Just like AI completely overran us when ChatGPT was launched.
Okay.
The next 2 years, we're going to be overrun by actually workable interfaces to quantum computers.
Okay.
Quantum computers suck at everything, but they're very good at one thing.
Yeah, but quantum entanglement just got proved last year in Nobel Prize. So quantum entanglement is a huge thing, and how we communicate with each other in the future. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing up the points I appreciate so much.
Let's table this
until we have a quantum computer.
Thank you. So I think this is a conversation to continue during the networking apéro with a glass of wine in hand or beer, whatever you prefer. Thank you so much again, Christoph, Martin.
Thanks, thank you.
This has been a pleasure. And now I will let you all go and enjoy the networking piece of the evening. The apéro should be ready by now. It is hosted by our partners Bittrex Global. So please enjoy yourself. And thank you, Uphold. Please find these two fine gentlemen outside. Chat with them, connect with them. Thank you so much.